Hello everyone and welcome to this fourth and final video for the Encyclopedia Kickstarter campaign. My name is Georgina and today I'm here with the authors of the game, Olivier Melison and Eric Dubus. Hello! Hi. Thank you for joining me for this video. So
pleasure.
It's really nice to have you here because most of the time we can't do this. A lot of the time we film these videos live and it's difficult to get you guys here in the evenings because you have lives and families and stuff. I don't, so that's fine.
We're responsible.
Responsible adults. Today we are filming this video in advance, the same way as we have done for the other videos for Encyclopedia. And we are going to be chatting about the game's development, because in the last video I was joined by Quentin, our artistic director. We talked about what made the game look so amazing. And today we're going to be talking about why it feels so amazing to play. So, Encyclopedia is not your first game.
We have a big family, so
because you've done Museum, Dominations Deluxe, Dominations Road to Civilization.
Pictura.
You've done Museum Pictura, and now this.
The fourth one.
Yeah. So for those who are familiar with the museum games, there's the tiniest little resemblance in terms of a few game sensations and mechanics, but overall, this is very different to other games you have done.
Yes, indeed. It is a collection game at the end.
Yes.
So it refers to Museum and Pictura.
Yeah.
There
is a set collection element, but it's end of game scoring.
Yeah, exactly. But we have a completely different mechanic for the game.
Yes.
And the idea behind this is to go through a period of the history.
Yeah.
Some people like before the content before, and propose to the players to be a naturalist in the 17th century.
Yeah, because
this is the experience that we want to
discovering the
present
world
to the players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why we went through the animals and trying to do the best collections, publications, and discoveries, and the kind of things.
So you chose worker placement for this game.
The dice worker placement.
The dice worker placement. The dice mechanic I love. I really enjoy it. I think it works incredibly well with the rest. You actually told me that because once I asked you, what do the dice represent? Because I've had playtesters ask me that question in terms of, well, normally when you play a worker placement game, you know what you're placing. You've got your workers. And you said time.
Absolutely.
It's your time.
It's time and influence.
Yeah.
So globally, at first, we wanted to put it in the museum universe.
Sure, okay.
Because it's part of it. So we have decided at the beginning...
This is the same family, this is a collection game, but this is not totally the same thing.
The collection game linked to the history, to the real things. And that said, we wanted to bring something new in terms of mechanics compared to the other games. Yeah. And the use of the dice is really the influence of our museum. At first, we were playing museum.
Right, okay.
We get rid of this because it was not relevant with before.
No.
But at the end, it's our influence and time about the naturalist.
Your watch does not understand.
I watched.
You've got before the line. Before the line. He is unhappy.
And we wanted to bring something linked to the influence and time past to make your discoveries, your expeditions, and the time to publish.
Sure, because as a naturalist, that is what you have to offer, is your time, your experience, and the contacts that you have.
And for the moment, we didn't use dice in other games. We don't take dice in Museum, in Pictura, and the dice is something we like. Every player like taking dice in his hand. And often Oliver said to me, we have to use it because this is the essence of the game.
Sure.
And when we talk about Encyclopedia, it was an evidence to use dice.
Sure.
Because this is really a pleasure for a family or a family expert game. There is a discussion about that. But using dice is really a pleasure. Put your hand in the bag and take the dice.
Is it
a good color?
Roll them. Use them.
This is really fun.
And with that mechanics, the main difficulty was to how to deal with luck.
Yeah.
Because the problem with dice,
This is why you didn't want to use it, because Luck is a trouble in a game. You want an experience of pleasure. We didn't want to hear I lose because I am
because my
unlucky.
dice were bad.
Absolutely.
We don't.
And you need to control your luck. That's why we bring to an end that we can exchange our dice. So we have our dice, and I can take yours.
Sure.
Which, in a way, is a way to limit the luck to the games.
Thematically, I find that interesting as well, because it's sort of like reaching out to a contact you might have and saying, I need an appointment at the embassy.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
This is exactly this, and we share the knowledge because we are all working the same way that we are making the encyclopedia at the end.
Yeah.
But
You try to put your name at the top.
Of course.
yeah, because at the end it's Buffon's work.
Yeah.
But we are working for him.
Sure.
So at the end, which is the more relevant or the most experienced, which is the victory point of the game during the game. But this is the main idea.
Cool.
So that's why we wanted to mechanically to make something to provide with too much luck in a game, in an expert or intermediary.
Yeah, midway kind of your,
complexity. So in a family game, we could have thrown dead, and this is luck. No problem with this.
Sure.
With the editorial decision that we took in the past for the midway games, we need to control the luck. That's why we have the money, which and the expedition token at the end,
absolutely.
which brings some level, and you can change the colors, change the value. So you can control what you are doing during the game.
The base of our work is to make games in which you have choice. This is the thing we like in a game, and we didn't want that the dice destroy the choice.
Yes.
So they are used to play.
Yeah.
You could have luck or you can be unlucky, but the game is not over if you make a wrong dice throw.
Yeah.
So the key of the game, this is what is the use of my dice?
Sure.
Do I go to the bank? Do I use it to take expedition points? This is always a bonus. Never something wrong.
It's not a constraint.
Yeah, this is what we wanted.
Absolutely. The game experience was the game must be rewarding.
Yeah.
Yes, and it feels that way.
Absolutely.
Because I never feel like when I play Encyclopedia, the game is punishing me. Because I'm not a big fan of games that are very, very punishing. That said, I do play certain games that are, but I really feel that with this, you just constantly get given things, and the game just goes, here you go. What are you going to do with it?
This, absolutely. And this is your choice, which makes you, going on to the game.
This is positive. You are in a positive attitude.
Sure.
And some actions are better than others, but you are never punished by the game.
No, that's true.
And this is one of our purpose.
This is one of the aspects that we wanted to bring the dice, because we didn't use dice in our previous game.
No, we've never used.
We are going to use dice in some others which are coming
soon
in future, but with different mechanics again.
Of course.
And the idea again behind this was how can we do a game by making studies on animals,
of course,
making expeditions, and publishing our work.
So let's bounce off that then, because I have had questions during the campaign of people saying, why not Darwin? Why Buffon? Because it has to be said, the Comte de Buffon is not a very well-known historical figure in comparison to Darwin. Most of us know who Darwin is.
Absolutely. He is a Buffon lover.
Yes.
He could explain it. He is a Buffon lover.
Not as many people are familiar with Buffon and his work, and yet, because we've talked about this before, his work was fascinating and of a very different nature to that carried out by Darwin.
Buffon is a predecessor to Darwin, quite long time ago.
Yeah.
And the idea behind this was Buffon made an encyclopedia.
So it was a catalogue.
A catalogue, but not for scientists. He made a catalogue for people. So we are in the 17th century, and we are the siècle des Lumières.
Yeah.
And the idea behind this is to bring to the people, a view of the animals around them, but also the exotic ones.
Yes.
We are completely in the discovery of the new world. traveling, discovering Asia,
Yeah.
and bring all the things to the people.
Yeah, that exist.
Absolutely. And
He had got a very big success in his century because
tremendous success. More than the
incredible.
Diderot Encyclopedia. So it has been translated in many languages.
everyone everyone knows Darwin.
Yes.
But some people say, where is Buffon? But Buffon is, I think, is more important because he is at the beginning of all that, and he has opened the eyes of the whole Europe about this discovery.
In the same time, it's because Darwin made a theory on evolution.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's scientific.
He is a scientist.
discovery.
Scientific.
Buffon is not. I mean, is not as much as scientific as Darwin's theory.
And he
is.
was criticized because
Absolutely.
he was not.
Very.
Buffon
He was
has been criticized by his peers, like Voltaire or some other, like Diderot, d'Alembert, which in the past say, look, this is your theory. All the animals, all the drawings and everything seems so unnatural because it was well painted, beautiful.
Yeah.
This is not science.
It's not science.
Yeah.
It was not relevant for this.
Yeah,
It was
and-
not a scientific papers.
No. Well, what you were saying to me earlier is that the cards in the game really, really express that because the cards are beautiful. That you've got the main illustration in the center of the card, and then the sketches around it. Yeah. And so the cards obviously are gorgeous, but Buffon's Encyclopedia was like that.
Absolutely.
And you can actually consult it for free on Gallica, which is the French National Library.
Absolutely. And all books are digitalized, and you can have access for free and read them.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's very, unfortunately, they're in French.
Yeah.
But you can read the papers, the articles, and it's really a pleasure to read this.
Sure. And I mean, what Buffon did essentially was observe more than study.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because what you were saying is that Darwin was a real scientific groundbreaker. Buffon just went.
Buffon.
That's that.
Buffon is a publisher.
Yes.
He's a royal publisher. He's a publisher because at the end, Buffon at the beginning was much more a blacksmith, much more focused in mineralogy. He has translated the Newton theory books from English to French.
So he did so many things.
Absolutely, but much more linked to the minerals and blacksmithing and all this knowledge.
Yeah.
But at the end, he has been known for the translation of Newton's book.
Okay.
And then the king, he went to the king's court due to this fact.
Okay.
And the king said, okay, now you're going to work on natural history.
Okay.
End of the story. So he didn't do the research himself.
No.
So he asked naturalists, as we are playing.
Yes.
We are playing this. We are playing Buffon's naturalists, which are making our research.
We are not scientists too. We make mistakes probably in some animals, but Buffon has done a lot of mistakes.
A lot
of mistakes.
It's normal. It was the study in 17th
It was
century.
logical.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they like in many others science, they just discover things at that time, but doesn't now with our look back, and we are in the 21st century, we say, no, it's not like this, but in the 17th century it was like this.
Yeah. So back then you could look back and say, oh well, that was silly to think that this animal was like that, but obviously they didn't.
Absolutely, there are so many mistakes with some.
Yeah.
But which are not mistakes. How they study it and how they make the analysis at the end.
Yes.
And they publish it. But science is never finished. Science is always moving.
That's true.
So in 1 century, people will say, what rubbish you are. You can't imagine, this is science and history. So, but at the end, this is a game.
Yes.
We are not an encyclopedic game.
No.
It's a game.
Yeah.
And we are playing naturalists. We are making research to do our best articles to make some publications.
And to answer your question, Buffon is also a fantastic example about the fascination about the new world in the modern century.
That's true.
Everything was a fascination. Every animal that doesn't exist in Europe was extraordinary.
Yeah.
Kings. Every people wanted to see other animals of this new world described in fantastic books, and Buffon was a symbol of this fascination probably not scientists, but a fascination about the dream.
Yes.
What is this new world?
Yeah.
Absolutely. When they brought the giraffe in Paris,
Yeah.
let's imagine.
Yeah.
On the
Articles,
there is the
trips.
Museum of History Natural in Paris,
Yeah.
And there was a zoo. There is not anymore, I think. No, it's not. No, it's not.
No.
And there is many other things on plants and
Yeah.
botanic and everything. But the first time they brought the giraffe and the elephant.
Yeah.
Let's imagine
To Paris,
what is it? You know,
Yeah.
Incredible.
a weird animal, and
Yeah.
and this is a way to bring this into the game.
Sure. I mean, it's unfortunate facts of history that nowadays we kind of look at in horror of importing
course,
a giraffe or an
absolutely.
elephant and putting them in the King's Royal Gardens and things like that. But at the time, it was a wonder, a source of
Absolutely,
wonder.
but not
And-
everything is black and white at
No,
the end.
that's
So this is something with our look now,
Yes.
which can be criticized.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
criticize this
Yes.
fact, but in that time, it was something that we call discovery.
Yes, and it's true that the works of Buffon, like you were saying, didn't target his scientific peers, they targeted the public. So
Absolutely.
Buffon's encyclopedia were incredibly successful, you said,
Indeed.
and sold huge numbers of books.
Huge number of they do so many reprints,
Yeah.
like the Diderot Encyclopedia
Yeah.
has done. You know, it was
Yes.
exactly the same success at the time,
Yeah.
which is tremendous for books that people, if they want the Bible,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
these kind of books. So it
Encyclopedias,
was
yeah.
the Natural History,
Yeah.
or the Encyclopedia of Diderot,
Yeah.
or l'Encyclopedia of d'Alembert.
Yeah.
End of the story. It was
Yeah.
the book that people bought. It was
Yeah.
so expensive at that time.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is something we can't imagine, because
Yeah.
books now are something so natural.
Yeah.
But at that time, you choose your book for 1 year or 2 years.
It was expensive. It was.
Yeah.
It was something, and we have to see that game. We try to put the people in the spirit of a modern people.
Yeah.
We don't have to see that game with nowadays eyes.
Yeah.
Because we were wrong.
Yeah.
We try to be in this modern period. What a draw, and the cars are wonderful about that.
Yes.
And we try to make a trip in this period.
Yeah.
Everything has been done in terms of graphic design,
Yeah.
drawings,
Everything.
to bring the players into that experience.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
the drawings are really near from the ones from before.
Yeah.
Have a look. There's so many,
Yeah.
so many drawings are available on
Yeah,
the
I
website.
went
you
to
know,
see.
and we wanted to have this.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
taste of the discovery.
Yes, and the idea that by buying one of Buffon's books at the time, they were beautiful, they were stylized, they were perhaps not as realistic as
Absolutely.
a scientific
Yes, indeed.
peer
Yeah.
would require, but for something that people back in that time would use as a window to the world, essentially. And yeah, that's what made his books so incredibly popular. So if we take that idea of Buffon, we come back to the mechanics of the game. You told me that you chose Buffon because he actually worked better with the idea of a set collection mechanic, which he
Absolutely.
wanted to include
Than-
in the
than
game.
Darwin at the
Far
end.
better than Darwin ever
far
could.
better. Far better.
Because essentially what Buffon and his naturalists did was collect information, images, and publish them into
course.
books, which Darwin didn't do. He
But
did
the-
actual research.
The analysis behind this, let's imagine that for Buffon,
Yeah.
the pony, the mule or the pony
Okay.
are a bad horse.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
so the pony and mule
Yeah,
is
are
something
failed horses.
Failed horses
Aw.
in their mind.
Okay, sure.
And from that mind, but which changed from nothing. Before this,
Yeah.
we didn't think about where do they
Where
come.
they came from, yeah.
So at that moment, they think, okay, this is the horse, which is the big one, the beautiful one,
Yeah.
near the human, and then this one is small.
This is worse.
It doesn't have big ears whatsoever.
Yeah.
So this is a waste. So it's a degenerated horse.
Okay.
What Darwin brought is
Right.
that it's completely different. There's
Yeah.
the horse, there's the pony,
Different
and they're coming
species.
from different species.
Of course.
This is not the
And
same
it's not exactly
approach.
the same
Yeah.
approach.
No,
But
no.
it was 100 years later.
Yes.
So we have made some research, we
Yeah. Mm.
made some other things, and they traveled,
Yeah.
they carry on thinking about the theory
Yeah.
and brought to an end, which is much more relevant for us now.
Yeah.
But maybe in 100 years, we would say Darwin was rubbish. It completely, because we may make some new discovery.
We in the mechanics, we try to be in this simplicity.
Yeah.
You prepare your trip.
Yeah.
You identify what you want to find.
Yeah.
You go to the place and you publish.
Yeah.
This is quite simple. This is
Exactly
the way,
what Buffon
this is the
did.
way Buffon did.
Absolutely. So
He prepares, he identifies, and he published.
Expedition,
and research, and he published.
research,
And this is not a Darwin approach. This is really a Buffon approach.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. I make collections. I identify. I make mistakes.
Yeah.
About
Because he made a lot of
ponies.
mistakes.
Absolutely.
And this is the end. And this is this kind of experience we wanted to find.
Yeah, because a lot of Buffon's theories were based on the same thing as his encyclopedias are based on, meaning observation and coming to conclusions based on basic observations that made logical sense in a certain way but turned out to be completely wrong. You can understand where the mule and pony thing comes from.
Yeah.
It's very wrong.
No, it is.
But
at that time, it was. And to be honest, we are the look when we design, because at one moment we must find characteristics to animals to make set collection. Because at the end, this is a game.
This is
we
a
are
game.
not doing a book. We are not doing science. This is a game.
We are not scientists.
No, we are not scientists. No, not at all. No. But at the end, we must find criteria which bring to a set collection game.
Sure.
So at the end, we have our 21st century look on this, because the climate was not part of the studies.
No.
Not at all.
No.
So already we have changed the way of Buffon do things.
Sure.
But for the
purpose
for
of the
public,
game,
absolutely.
it had
At the
to
end,
be
for the
done.
purpose of the game, we've done this.
Yeah.
So we have
sure.
again modified things from Buffon's work.
Yeah, and I mean, you were saying to me as well that Buffon is the reason that there are no fish or insects in the game, because they weren't, or like smaller amphibians.
He wanted to,
like
the amphibians.
He wanted to put fish, insects, dinosaurs.
We wanted to bring natural history all over. So from the origin, from the dinosaurs, to,
all the way.
And from that, we said, okay, get rid of the dinosaurs, too complicated. And furthermore, it was not the same classification. So we had so many problems with the classification. So we got rid of the dinosaurs. Then we went to the, at first we have the amphibian, the fish, reptile, birds, and mammals.
Vegetation.
And we got rid of, because Buffon didn't work on fish at first, on
his original
books. Later, with his successors, they work on this, but not from his living.
No, okay.
And we got rid of the amphibian, too complicated, and we got rid of the fish, very complicated.
Yes.
And we removed the insect nearly at the beginning, because it's not, again, the same classification. So at the end, we need to make a game which bring game experience to the player, but at the end, it must be balanced.
Yes.
So we need to balance everything.
This is a game. Don't forget it. This is a game.
It's a game that has to function mechanically. But in the end, the theme of Buffon ended up working so well for this, because he didn't study fish or reptiles or amphibians, or insects, because I think you told me he's only studied the animals he considered to be the closest to man.
Yes,
so,
from the man, from the king, and then going away. So they started with the
big mammals,
the pigs, the chicken, whatsoever. Then you go to the forest. So you have the boars, you have the deer, and then go away. You know, but the insect doesn't mean anything for this class from the man to the insect.
We often forget that they didn't get the same vision of the world than we get today.
Sure,
This was totally different.
It was a different
This is hard for us to understand how he was thinking. And we find mistakes in his way of thinking, but we don't understand the way we say, what is the trouble? Because animal suffering? What is the trouble? A fish? It is not an animal. And for him, this is like this.
Let's imagine at that time, we went through the Bible to Buffon.
Right.
But at that time, God was still the way to think in Europe.
Yes.
So even
the only way.
The only way. So we go from the paradise to the animals, and then we make a first catalogue. And then Darwin said, okay, the analysis of Buffon is not good.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah.
But coming from where we started, it's the logic evolution of what we are thinking.
Sure.
But again, we are in the 17th century.
Sure.
So for all these historical problems, this is what it is.
Yeah. But
Exactly.
in the end, I think that it's a theme that's really, really interesting. Obviously, Buffon had a lot of ideas that turned out to not be correct or were completely wrong from the start. But the theme works incredibly well with the game. It's wonderful to discover someone that isn't Darwin, because admittedly, there are quite a few games out there that already cover Darwin. Darwin's work is far more well known, and of course, the way had to be paved for him.
More in our way of thinking science.
Yes.
Darwin is a precursor of the new science.
Sure. Yeah.
Buffon is the 17th century.
Yeah,
so
which is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's roughly
There is an
400 years
incredible.
ago.
Yeah.
This is a.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
So yeah, but that's
Is it
what
a
brings
code?
us. Huh?
I see. What is this code?
Well, what I was going to
Cool.
say is that in the end, you were telling me earlier that you start from this big game concept in terms of theme, but then it has to go through a funnel
because
of mechanics,
absolutely. At the end,
production,
and designing.
yeah,
And this is always the case for every game.
Yes.
So we start with an idea, with a game experience that I want to propose,
Yeah.
and we try to do something, and then we are working with the graphic design. We are working with everything. So a mechanics must be relevant when you are making graphics.
Yeah.
And then you have the drawings, and you have everything. You have the problematic of the production.
yes,
Because at the end, this is a
Buffon
product.
didn't get this kind of trouble. And we have got this kind of trouble.
No, but at the end, this is a product, a final
Yes.
product, which need to fit to everything.
Yes.
To a price, to every step then
Yes.
of the production
Of course.
of a game.
and in the end, we were talking about how originally the game was on a much grander scale. You wanted to do far more
More
detailed
dice,
expeditions. There were tons of extra things, and we said, well, in the end, the game has to go in a direction. Either it has to go in this very ambitious, very expert, huge game proposal, or we have to tone it down a bit, make it a bit more accessible without taking any depth from it.
Absolutely.
Because it's,
And we got rid of many things about expedition. We wanted something more developed on
originally,
expeditions.
yeah.
But Jamie take a gun and he says, no, you won't do that.
No, but the idea is,
And we were afraid.
it was complicated. It was a game in a game.
Yeah.
Of course,
So we get rid of things.
Yeah.
And the publication, which is something really important at the end, because we wanted to have all these curses, and at the end, the publication is the most complex thing that we have to go through.
Of course.
But it was necessary. We have to put a publication because the game wouldn't have been the same.
No.
And the work of Buffon is publishing.
Yes.
And this is what he let in the history.
Yeah.
And so we have to put publication, and this is not the same thing to find and to publish.
Yes.
Encyclopedia is really the first wonderful book of the century.
Yeah.
We could say that. And so Buffon is really an actor of the publication. So we can't make the game with no
Without
publication.
that, no.
This is too hard. We have to find a mechanic and put it in the game.
And make a choice on the level of difficulty of the game.
Of course, yeah.
And that's a difficult moment.
You have to edit.
Absolutely.
You have to edit, and we did edit this game a lot. It's already challenging, deep. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think what you guys originally had planned for this was almost another game.
Indeed.
And hey, it might be another game.
It might be another game in the
not?
future, because we love the idea, because most of the time we have vision compared to movies
For
sometimes.
sure, yeah.
And we had in mind Masters and Commanders
Yes.
or the
Lost City of Z.
which are these explorers which are preparing the expedition, going to the
people,
wild.
you go into the jungle. What do you find?
And we wanted be more involved in this. But at the end, it's a monstrous game. Because it would have been,
Huge.
much more longer.
Yeah.
And at the end, does it bring something new into the original concept? We don't think so.
No, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And that was one of the things that I discussed with Quentin in our previous video, was that when you are making games in this way, you do have to edit ideas out. Choices have to be made. we were discussing the Royal Edicts in the previous video, which is a small sort of exclusive piece of content, stretch goal that we've added to the campaign. And the Royal Edicts actually bring back rules that we stripped from the game because we had to make a choice between one rule or another.
Absolutely.
For example, how the expeditions work. We have decided that in the core game, you must always place your die on the leftmost space because it streamlines everything, makes it easier to understand for players who are just beginning.
For the first game session, you don't have to think about.
No,
you just have to apply.
Exactly.
Then this is
you apply the rule and the effect, and
but with the edits, it brings you some of the choice.
For sure.
Players are free about the way they use the rules.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally.
So the Royal Edicts make it so that if you're playing with the one concerning expeditions, well, you choose where you place your die. And admittedly, the first time you play, that can be a difficult choice because you sort of think, well, why, what difference does it make?
Is it interesting to get 3 reputation or 3 on my expeditions?
Yeah.
Is it interesting because one of the Royal Edits, you may choose not to gain your reputation?
Yes.
Because I need a free animal. This is not a good moment. I may not want to have my reputation because I keep this for free when I will get the right animals.
Yeah.
But this is something we get rid of during the development because it was more choice, more depth, and more difficulty at the end.
Yes, but you always have to watch what the other player do.
Oh yes.
Because the way he will use your dice could change your play and your turn.
Yeah.
Okay, I let my dice here because he will take it and I will win 2 points of reputation and I will get my bonus.
But already this
will
bring more difficulty into the game because already in a family game you throw. This is your dice you use.
Yeah.
But you are not completely. If you accept the luck into the games, no problem with the family games.
Yes.
But with a mid-expert one,
this kind of game.
It could be a problem. So that's why we bring this fact to exchange the dice because it was the idea, But at the end, this is exactly the same thing for everything. So we are to get rid of things.
Yes.
We brought too much depth into the
too much complication, too many choices.
Too many choices. The problematic with the choice. It's not the rules without making the difficulty of the game. This is the choice.
Yeah, having too many choices and not knowing what to do with them, which is what makes Dominations a challenging game to play.
It's an expert one because you have so many choices.
This is not the same difficulty. And you will always play with the others. Because when you take a dice, you broke your heart. I will get 2 points.
Yeah.
Fuck, I take it all the same because I want the 6 yellow. And so you play with the other, you are looking at what is this dice. When you get a very good dice throw, this is a good news for you. But this is a good news for your opponents. Okay, he has made what I want, what I need.
Or you have the colours, or you have the value, whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
and you could change it with that. You are not in a situation you can't play.
Stuck in a situation. You always play.
You always have something to do.
Always something
and
to do.
Always positive.
Yes.
Always in a positive way. And this is what we wanted.
Yeah. Well, I mean that brings us logically to the stretch goals of the campaign and the sort of argument that we've been having. The debate that we've been having with backers, because as you may or may not know, if you're familiar with the campaign, we have a very ambitious delivery date, which is entirely based on reality, research, tons of preparation with our production partners. What you can see on the table here is actually a pre-production sample.
Yes,
so this is from a factory. So this really is what the game is going to look like for the most part.
We're ready.
But obviously, when we do Kickstarter campaigns, we like to offer stretch goals. But the problem with stretch goals, and it's a trap that we have fallen into heavily in the past with some of our campaigns, is the more stretch goals you add, the more development time you add, the more production time, because components have to be prototyped, they have to be designed, they have to be tested. And we didn't want to do that with Encyclopedia because we really want to get this game onto people's tables as quickly as we can. That being said, we have found a kind of fun compromise that we have been making during the campaign. So we have introduced the Killer Bunny, which was kind of an April Fool's joke that ended up going really well, and everybody loved it. So we did the Killer Rabbit from Kerbanock. We did the Royal Edicts, which were a bit more sober, but in terms of mechanics, they really bring something extra to the game when you've got a few games.
Like the Magna Itinera brings. So we have the all the events, but he already gone through.
Yeah, exactly.
All the events on the new
Tons
animals,
of
on new
stuff.
people. So
Yeah.
brings new flavors.
Replayability,
Yeah.
lots of new angles, new strategies to test. It's really interesting. This week we announced, well, it will be last week by the time you guys are watching this video, we announced the Gallicus Taurus, so the cow card. This is another card inspired by Monty Python, so the Quest of the Holy Grail, which is the namesake of our company, essentially. We saw how much you guys loved the Killer Bunny card. We decided to add this additional card. So this is the Catapulted Cow. Essentially, it's going to work in a similar way to the Killer Bunny. You put it into the animal card deck. When it's drawn onto the board, you cannot take it, you cannot research it, you cannot publish it. The only thing that happens is the last player in the turn order takes it immediately. And when they choose to then take a die from another player, instead of that player gaining the bonus from that die, they simply give them, or we prefer throw the card at them, and they instead get that card. So they cannot take the bonus for their die, which can be a bit of a bummer depending on how badly you needed that bonus. But it's funny.
But, you lose 3 victory points at the end.
Yeah, you may well do.
And this is a rotten card.
Yeah. So you give them that card instead. They do not get to take their bonus, but they do now have that card themselves, and they can use it in exactly the same way on another player. So this poor cow is going to get endlessly catapulted around the table for the whole game. Obviously, it is inspired by the French catapulting a cow at the English in the Monty Python movie.
Yeah.
We think it's really funny. Obviously, you do not have to play with it if you don't want to. It's subjectively funny. Mechanically, it does bring something. It is like a small attack. If you decide that you do not want to play so aggressively, of course, it is entirely optional. You can remove it from play. The card actually comes with its own little rules card, and this is what allows us to add all of these new elements to the game without increasing development time, because we don't have to change the rulebook. We can just add this rules card, and all of these new elements have gone into the Magna Itinera expansion, which is exclusive to HGG. I think that's about it. We have gone through everything. Yeah, at the time this video was filmed, we'd done this a couple of days before airing it. We were over 200,000 euros, so over 3,100 backers. We're absolutely delighted. Thank you so much, everyone. We are now going into the final 48 hours of the campaign. It's almost over. If you have already backed, thank you so much. If you haven't backed yet and were perhaps a little bit on the fence, maybe this video was of help to you. Hopefully it was. I had a good time. That was a really interesting discussion.
We don't speak about coconuts yet.
No, not yet. But there will be a new card coming out if we haven't published it already by the time this video airs. Thank you, both of you, for coming and speaking to me in English, because I know it's a bit more difficult for you than speaking your native
piece
French.
Of cake.
Easy.
Sorry. Sorry for all.
Thank you again, everyone, for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, we are here in the comments section answering any questions you may have, including on the Kickstarter campaign. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon for another Holy Grail Games video. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.